Happy Tuesday, everybody, and welcome into another exclusive interview presented by Garnet Trust with Andrew Eyster of the South Carolina baseball team. I am Kendall Smith. Andrew, how are you doing today? How are you feeling? I know this past weekend you had a little bit of a hamstring injury, so give us an update on how that's going.
Yeah, I'm feeling good right now. Obviously coming off a tough weekend, but today we're looking forward to going to Charleston and playing Citadel. It's always a fun place to play out there in the River Dog Stadium. But I'm feeling good. I had a little pulled hamstring this weekend, and it's feeling better day by day. And it's something that I should be good to go this weekend. So just looking forward to that. But it was tough not being able to be out there on Sunday. It stinks, watching the games from the dugout, and that's not something I'm used to. So, but I'm excited to be back out there and playing again.
Well, it's good to hear that you're doing better. And like you said, playing tonight at the Citadel in Charleston, South Carolina at Riley Park. A tough weekend at Tennessee, but what do you think it'll take, Andrew, to get this team back in the win column tonight?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to take a complete team effort, on both sides of the ball. I feel like our starting pitching did really well this weekend, and as an offense, we just weren't there to back them up, and that's something that we got to be there for. We got to be there for them tonight. If hopefully they go out and do their thing on the mound, and we got to be there also to put some runs up on the board. And it's a fun place to play, and it's a great atmosphere. So everyone's looking forward to this game tonight.
Well, I'm excited. I'm going to the game, and like you said, it's a great place to be. So any Carolina fans watching, if you want to make the quick trip to Charleston, if you're living in Columbia, only an hour and a half away, and the game is at 7 p.m. tonight. It'll also be on ESPN Plus for anybody who cannot make the game. Andrew, I want to take it back to maybe a little bit of a happier time than this past weekend. We haven't talked to you since the Texas series, which was a series that South Carolina won. You tweeted that Sunday doubleheader was one of the most fun days of baseball that you played in a long time. So just kind of take me back to that, the emotions from that day, and just what it was like for you to take down the number one team in the country in that weekend series.
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with Friday's game. We ended up losing that game, but there was definitely a sense of confidence after that game, which is kind of odd to say after a loss. But we felt good about how we played, and we really felt good about our chances the next day. And so that's something that we brought into that Sunday. Obviously having a doubleheader. We went in thinking we're going to win that next game, and then hopefully taking that momentum into the next game as well. And that's exactly what we did. And there's just something about doubleheaders where in the last couple of years, it seems like we've been really successful during doubleheaders, and it's a long day. It's a grueling day. It's, after playing 2 games, you're exhausted physically and mentally. But I mean, it was just, again, it's winning one game is an awesome feeling, but being able to do that twice in a day, it makes it so much better. And to do that against the number one team in the country at that time was incredible. And everyone was just so excited afterwards.
How do you re-energize yourself between the 2 games? Because you just mentioned playing doubleheaders, it's not easy. I mean, I've never done it, but I would assume it's not easy. So how are you able to kind of bounce back for that second game and get in the right headspace?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with just going upstairs and just getting a good meal in. Everyone's hungry after playing a full game, and you just got to refuel yourself, re-energize. And but at the end of the day, everyone was feeling really great after that first game, and it didn't take much to get everyone motivated and ready to play that second game, because we felt really good about ourselves and our chances to win that third game.
You mentioned some struggles at the plate this past weekend against the Tennessee Volunteers, but there were some bright spots on the mound, particularly in Matthew Becker and Cade Austin, 2 younger guys on your team. So can you just kind of talk about some of these younger guys, especially maybe some of the pitchers that have really stepped up in the face of injuries that you all have dealt with throughout the season, and just how impressed maybe you've been with them so far.
Yeah, I mean, Becker's the obvious one. Didn't really have, hadn't solidified his role on the team until last weekend. He's a guy that we used out of 10 a few times and had been successful. But at that point, that was his role, just a guy that'll come in over the weekend and eat some innings up, and he gets the opportunity to start on the mound against the best team in the country at that time, and really shine. And from that day, from last Sunday, he put himself in that role as our one of our weekend guys, and it's only been 2 starts obviously, but he's flourished in those 2 starts, and I'm excited to see what he can do for us the rest of the year. But that's huge. That's huge to have another guy that we can really rely on throughout the weekend. And I also want to talk about Noah Hall too, because he's put out a couple really good starts. He's given us 4 really good innings every time he's gone out there, and his numbers may not quite show it, I don't think, but he's pitched really well, and I think everyone who's watched it closely can really appreciate that and understand it. And another guy I would say is Aiden Hunter. He's had a lot of meaningful innings for us this year, and he may be a guy that you see tonight. I'm not sure exactly who's starting, but he's a freshman. Just we're going back home for him. He's from Somerville, so he's done really well, and like I said, wasn't a guy in the fall that really knew what his role would be. But he's given us a lot of really solid innings this year, and I know he's going to continue that as well.
And Andrew, you're still performing very well at the plate, leading the team in RBIs, batting .366 right now. Up until this point in the season, how would you evaluate your offensive performance?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say I've done a pretty good job so far, and the main focus being the RBIs, the driving in runs. I knew coming into this season that was going to be my main goal, my main role in the team, is to be the older guy who's been around here and come up in those big spots when we need to drive in runs. And so from that standpoint, I feel good about how I've done so far. But the next step is just keeping that performance up, into SEC play. It's a whole different animal going into conference play and the competition we face and the pitchers we're facing, and so that's the challenge, is to keep that going, for these next 10 weeks or so.
You mentioned being an older guy on the team and leading the team, obviously, in a sense, because you do have that experience starting off SEC play with a series loss and then heading into this weekend against Vanderbilt, who is obviously a very talented team. What is your message and what has been your advice to your teammates and maybe some of the younger guys about how to push past maybe some of those struggles from last weekend and keep the focus heading into this week?
Yeah, I mean, the big message is to just not look into it too deeply, really. We've just a week ago, we showed how we can play, and if we play like that, we can beat anyone in the country, and it doesn't matter if it's the number 1 team or if it's anyone in the top 10 or top 25. That's irrelevant, and we just have to. We can't get down on ourselves from this last weekend. It sucked a lot, but at the same time, we didn't feel like that we were so overmatched the whole weekend. We didn't play well enough to win, and it's as simple as that. And but at the same time, we know we can, and it's just a matter of regrouping and refocusing, and not losing any of that confidence, especially that we had such a short time ago. So, I think we're going to come out and look a lot different this weekend than we did this past weekend.
And that series is at home this weekend, so everyone get your tickets if you haven't already. Andrew, I want to finish off the interview today asking you some fun questions. I feel like people need to get to know you a little bit more, know your personality. A lot of these have to do with baseball, but they're just kind of rapid fire questions. So are you down?
All right.
Okay, so what is your favorite post-game meal?
My favorite post-game meal. I would have to go with, we've gotten Cantina a couple times for post-game meal, and I'm a huge Cantina fan. Love Cantina.
That is
yeah, oh my God. I love me some brisket tacos, some buffalo chicken tacos. That place is incredible. And whenever we get Cantina after the game, I'm a happy guy.
That is a perfect answer. I approve. I agree with that answer. If you're giving like a superlative to somebody on the team, and in high school they'll say like class clown, who do you think is the team clown, like the team jokester?
It's Jack Mahoney, and I don't got to think about it. If you ask anyone else on the team, they'll say the same thing. You'll get 35 Jack Mahonies. I promise you that. But no, he's a funny dude, man. He's one of the funniest people I've ever met, and some of the things he says are just outrageous, and he's a good guy to have in the dugout all the time and to have in the locker room. He's always putting smiles on people's faces, make people laugh, and he's awesome. I love that guy.
I don't know why I thought you were going to say Will Sanders. I guess I don't. This is just because last year I was like at the press conference when he was brought up like the hoedown throwdown or something. Uh-huh. Yeah, that was like, that memory is forever ingrained in my head. So whenever I think about that, I'm like, I feel like he's kind of a jokester. But
he is. He's a jokester. He'd be one of them. But no one's as much of a clown as Jack is.
That's good to know. Any pregame rituals that you always have to do before you play?
You know what? Not really. I'm not as superstitious as a lot of other guys are. There's not a whole lot of rituals or any of that stuff. I know a lot of guys are super superstitious, but sorry for the boring answer, but there's not a whole lot I do.
Honestly, it's impressive. I feel like most people like have a whole entire routine, but I kind of like that you just go with it and let it happen. It's very impressive. This last question is something I've wanted to ask for a hot minute, and I didn't ask it last interview, so I'm like, I have to do it now.
Yeah.
All the way from when I was in high school, my brother played baseball at Winthrop, and we would come to the games here. And your walk-up song, like I remember I heard your last name and then I heard your walk-up song and I was like, that is truly iconic. Like it's such a good one. If y'all don't know what it is, Cold as Ice by Foreigner. Where did that come from? Was that your idea or did somebody tell you should do it, like a play on your name?
So I wish I could say that it was my idea, but I actually got to give the credit to Gavin Pence, our old head equipment guy from last year. He's now the director of player operations guy at Troy. Now he went with I guess not player operations. He's off guy at Troy. He went with Coach Mead when Coach Mead went over to Troy. But Gavin, I guess it was my first year, my sophomore year here. I had a couple other ones. He was like, hey man, I think next year you got to do Cold as Ice by Foreigner, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll check it out. And then I really started listening to it. I knew the song, but I started listening to it. I was like, I think I could ride with this. And I hope he sees this. I hope Gavin sees this. But Gavin, I thank you for that idea because everyone loves it, and I think it brings a lot of smiles to people's faces when I come to bat because of it.
It's so good. It is so good. And like I am kind of like tough on walk-up songs. I'll be like, oh, that was not a good choice. Like I will be judgmental about it, but that one is a really good one. So,
oh, I'm glad you like it.
Yes, not that anybody cares about my opinion, but when it comes on, it's awesome. Well, Andrew, thank you so much for joining us on another exclusive interview presented by Garnet Trust. It was awesome talking to you tonight, 7 o'clock at the Citadel, this weekend at home for a full weekend series against Vanderbilt. Good luck with everything, and thanks again for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for having me on. I really enjoyed it.